Hello, everyone. A couple of you asked me to look at the coronation space-time moment. It is an interesting event because it hasn't happened for 70 years or something like that. So it is unusual. And hopefully, King Charles III will reign for quite a long time, and he will have a happy reign and a successful and brilliant era for the English. As you know, I'm part-time an English person as well, because I go there quite often. I love London. I love the Brits. I have quite a few friends there, and so to me, it is also an event that I watch closely. And having said that, let's take a look at the space-time moment in detail. What struck me as curious was the fact that the whole ceremony starts at 11 a.m. Now, usually coronations are occurring at noon, because at noon, the sun is at its highest point, shining the brightest, giving the most heat, the most warmth, the most blessing, so to speak. And usually this is what happens. Of course, I don't exactly know the details of the ceremony, and because I'm going to teach that weekend. Actually, I'm going to give exams for my Hungarian group, and I will have to chip in on Sunday as well, because some of my colleagues have health problems, and I volunteered, of course. But anyhow, so I will be working over the weekends. I won't be there. I won't take part. I won't clap and wave to the new crowned king, so to speak. But anyhow, so I have no idea how the ceremony is going to occur. It might be that the exact moment when he gets the crown, and so the crown is put on his head, is going to be noon. But even then, the fact remains that in any astrological process, we always look at the start point. We always look at what is happening, how it is starting. So this is the starting of the space-time moment, and this is at 11 o'clock a.m. So let's take a look at the chart in, of course, Westminster. And here it is. And what struck me immediately, of course, was that this is a Sun-Uranus applying conjunction. So in 3 days, it's going to be exact. It's usually change and also disruption, and also freedom urges. When there's a space-time moment with a Sun-Uranus aspect, although this is a conjunction, so it always signifies some sudden event, sudden, unexpected thing, and of course, big major changes. Also, Chiron is on the midheaven. In itself, that is not very nice, because the midheaven is the future. So the crowning of King Charles III and his reign, his true reign, is what sets out at this moment, has Chiron in its future. And it means that he will meet karmic wounds. Of course, we could argue that Chiron on the midheaven indicates big healers as well, who do healing as a profession. But as a space-time moment that carries Chiron on the midheaven is not a very beneficial thing. And also the Aries-Jupiter conjunction is still tight. It's already separating. This is something that indicates that the disruption around us, drastically altered outward circumstances, are magnified by Jupiter. That's also not very nice. It is applying to the midheaven. So there's a very full 10th house, which of course is to be expected at such event. And the North Node is still conjunct Astrea, karma breaking potentials. And Vesta is conjunct Mercury, which is retrograde. Now, this again is quite fascinating, because why would you put a coronation in a retrograde Mercury period? Didn't they have an astrologer who looked at it? I mean, you know what they say about retrograde Mercury, that you lose information, that there could be accidents, could be disruptions in traffic or in communication. And this is all true. And funnily, if you look around, especially in the world, at the moment, Zelensky is in Holland, I think somewhere in the West, asking for more money and more weapons. We just finished there was a 3-day visit from the Pope Francis in Hungary, about which the mainstream media lied through their teeth. I mean, it's so ridiculous to live through these 3 days and to experience the blessing of the whole and the professionalism of it. And if you want to read a real political manifestation, then I don't know whether it's translated or not, then take a look at what our president, which is a symbolic in Hungary. It's not a true power thing. It's more like a symbolical power. Read her speech, and it was brilliant. I think it was one of the most important speeches in Hungarian history in the last 50 years. This is how I think. But anyhow, it's of course it's not world news, although the Pope may be world news. And also there's a CPAC conference. It's a Republican conservative what is it, like an assembly that they usually celebrate or it usually takes place in the United States, but it is now happening in Hungary at the moment. Today is the 4th when I'm recording this, and I'm going to post it tomorrow on the 5th. And of course, there was on the 5th, there was a lunar eclipse, which you can actually watch the video. I explained it in detail. So that is barely a couple of hours later. I mean, 2 days later, really. Not 2 days. On the second day of it, but barely 12 hours or 20 hours later, something like that. So the placements are pretty much the same. Even Venus only went just barely 1 degree. So, but the flavor of the chart is different. But anyhow, so let's get back to the Vesta Mercury conjunction. In a way, I think that, as I showed you, many important events were happening, and nothing was actually glitched or threatened or disrupted. Actually, it was very all these events went very, very smoothly. So maybe it was Vesta, the focusing principle, that is kind of helping this retrograde Mercury to come out of this whole mess, so to speak, maybe. And if you can see, there's a T-square actually, which is going to be a ground cross. I'm going to show you in a minute. So it's really, this space-time moment carries a fixed cross, and there's no beating around the bush. We really have to note this fact. Anyhow, here is the hemisphere emphasis. Yes, this is a public event, very much in the public eye. You have 9 planets above the horizon, except for the moon. All the personal planets are above the horizon naturally because it's noon or it's in midday, and only 3 are down there, but the moon is down there. So there could be some hidden emotional repercussions of the whole space-time. And of course, 8 planets are on the ascendant sign side. So everyone is trying to hold the reins and do what's necessary. Here's the energetic map. Let's take a look at the modalities. First, there's 3 cardinals, 6.5 fixed, and 3 mutables. And as you can see, the 3 personal significators, sun, moon, and descendant, are all fixed, and also the nodal axis. So everything is fixed, rigid, ensconced, actually the fixed are more than when we add up cardinals and mutables together. So it's a very fixed space-time moment. As for the elements, water, sorry, I made a mistake here. This is, of course, earth and water, the other way around. So, but anyhow, sorry. So this, I don't know why I did this. We have 4.5 water and 3 earth. I'm not going to correct this, but this is a mistake. So it's water. Actually, water is what is dominating. And yes, if you consider the fact that there are, this is an emotional moment for a nation. To get a new king, to crown this new king. A new era is starting. When we learn history, we usually learn medieval and important parts of history by learning who reigned that period. So it's important. And there are 2 intercepted signs. If you go back to the original chart, you will see that the 11th and 5th houses contain Gemini and Sagittarius intercepted. So there's always important to see what is intercepted, what is put into brackets. Of course, this is a space-time moment for an event. It is not not somebody's chart, not an incarnating soul's chart, where we always have to take a look at what is intercepted, because whatever is intercepted is put, so to speak, into brackets. Something that the native doesn't want to deal with, something, we call it suspended karma, usually, which means that I put something in brackets and I'm waiting for it. Either I can tackle it in this life, if not, no matter, fine, I'm going to do something else. So let's take a look. Of course, this is a space-time, it's an event, so it doesn't have so to speak, a true karmic layer. But as you can see in Sagittarius, we have the vertex, the point where you don't have free will. Maybe this was put into brackets. But what's interesting, of course, the anti-vertex is in the opposite sign. That's always like this. But the 2 feminine things, Juno, the wife, and Venus, the lover, are also put into brackets. So if this was a marriage, a wedding, I would have serious doubts. But here, Venus, which could be money and harmony creating factors, and Juno, the significator of contract and alliances, is also put into brackets. So that's what it is. And here's the fixed ground cross that I mentioned. To me, this is a little bit too wide. I would not normally consider it a ground cross in a native human being's chart, in a natal chart, but this is a space-time moment, so we can be more flexible with it. And here's the cross that I was talking about, which is actually dissolved by Saturn, which creates a fixed water engine with the south node and the ascendant. And the ground cross involves the nodal axis, Astrea, Vesta, Mercury, and of course the ascendant descendant. So that's really a space-time moment that carries this big fixed cross. Let's take a look at the transcendental celestial objects. On Saturn, you have Terpsichore, the muse of dance. So there will be some happiness and some gaiety in it. And Gong Gong, about which I put out a full video. It denotes cosmic catastrophes. And then Abadiga, which is the alpha star of Cygnus, which is the whole constellation is about Taltosh energy, the shaman energy. Cygnus is flying towards the north node, and it's on the Milky Way, so it's on the path of the gods. So it's an important start. And then on the south node, you have Amenhotep. Clearly, this is a dynasty, of course, and Radamanthus, who was the son of Zeus and Europe, and he was the one who restored the law after the Minotaur story in Crete. And on the ascendant, we have quite a few things. Fantasia, fantasy, Hebe, the goddess of youth, virtue, of course, virtues, Varuna, which is a funny centaur in comic astrology. We link it with, actually it's a TNO, we link it to Queen Karma. And it usually describes situations where someone, the wife, needs to produce an heir. And we astrologers often note that if we compare the natal charts of William and Harry, Harry has a much better chart to become a king. But of course, William is the heir. Harry is just the spare. Now, there could be such a situation when, yes, he could become the heir as well, or the king. And Varuna is also hinting at the fact that there are lots of rumors about him not being the true son of King Charles. I don't know, I wasn't there. But anyhow, it's just funny that this space-time moment. And then you have Prasepe, which is the nebula inside the constellation Cancer, which is the beehive, but actually it is the stargate, where in esoteric lore we link it to the coming down to the earth plane. So as the souls are choosing to come down to the earth plane, they come across one of the gates to come across this Prasepe. What else is here? On the north, you have Sheraton, the beta star of Aries, which is the healing world for the negative aspects of the celestial realm. On Mercury, you have two very important stars, Hamal and Shadir. Hamal is the alpha star of Aries, and it's the healing world for where you learn to live alone, where you learn to take risks, where you learn to choose your own path. And Shadir is Alpha Cassiopeia, or beta maybe, alpha or beta, doesn't matter. It's the queen, and it's the feminine, it's the powerful feminine. So there's a very feminine and a very masculine star on retrograde Mercury. And on Vesta, you have Hathor and Cybele, two strong feminine. Did I say everything? Yes, I hope so. If not, I apologize, but we are coming back on soon, because I'm going to post a video on the exact Sun-Uranus conjunction. Okay, here's Mercury and Hamal and Shadir, and you can see that Mercury could actually be conjunct Hamal, which is about 23 degrees, 25, maybe 25 degrees, to the north. But Shadir is a very, very northern star. You will never, ever have anything conjunct it. And that's why Bernadette Brady suggested way back in 2006 that we should not use the word conjunct. We should rather use the word aligned. Of course, this is in the longitude. And here is Prasepe on the ascendant. As you can see, this is M44, the nebula inside Cancer, the stargate where the souls can migrate down to the earth plane. And here is Danab Adige on Saturn. As you can see, this is the celestial swan that is flying towards the north celestial pole, and also on the Milky Way. Okay, there's also this anaretic and dissociate planetary picture. Again, I allowed a little bit larger orb than usual. The main feature, of course, is the Pluto Sedna trine, which is dissociate, because Sedna is still in the last degrees of Taurus, and Pluto is now retrograding back into Capricorn. So soon they will have another trine in the Earth signs, still in the Earth signs. It's not yet happening, but there will be one. And actually there is a mutable air engine involving Juno in Gemini, trans-Pluto in Virgo, and Pluto. This portion is interesting because you have the two wife archetypes: Juno, the first lady, and trans-Pluto, who is usually described either as Persephone, the wife of Pluto, or as Isis, the wife of Osiris. So two strong, independent feminists who are also committed in a relationship. But now they are, Juno and trans-Pluto are clashing. And there's also, you can also see as this dissolved opposition between Pluto at the 0 degrees Aquarius, opposite Pallas Athena, the wise girl, And the clash is dissolved by the Juno-Sedna conjunction. And Venus is also kind of, so you can see that there's no yod between Pluto, Venus, and trans-Pluto, because Venus is still in Gemini, and the orb is too wide for the sextile to close. Let's take a look at the transcendental objects. On Pluto, you have Orius. This is a centaur that is linked to mitigated punishment. I explained this many, many times, but if you look around, this is exactly what you see. The world leaders are simply getting away with murder. It's so ridiculous that they no longer pose as democratic or as decent or as hardworking. They are disrupting the whole world. You see, it's interesting because I don't know whether you are familiar with the fact that diabolos, so the devil, means in Latin someone who is disrupting things, and this is exactly what you see. And Orius suggests that these plutocrats are getting away with everything they are doing. They're not getting so their punishment is mitigated. Nothing. They are not even punished. On Sedna, you have the Pleiades, the home constellation of the creator goddess. On Juno, you have Cleopatra, a very strong feminine again, and another spouse archetype. Although Cleopatra didn't marry Antonius. I don't remember. They of course, the film with Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor is a wonderful movie. So they are depicted as the golden couple, but I don't think they ever got married, really. Anyhow, on Venus, you have Hector, the hero of the Trojan War, chaos, creation out of nothing, and two stars, Betelgeuse and Polaris, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And on Pallas Athena, you have Clio, the muse of history. Know history. If you know your history, you will be able to glean at the future as well. And on trans-Pluto, you have Gisha, harmony, and abundancia. The three things we really need: abundance, harmony, and pleasures. So that's quite good. Anyhow, so that's the Venus position. Actually, I had a very similar drawing in the previous video, which presented the lunar eclipse, because Venus was at 27 and change. You can see now it's 28 degrees 42 in Gemini, and it went a little bit even further to the north, so it is out of bounds at 26 degrees 01, and it is aligned with two stars, Betelgeuse, which is Alpha Orion. It's the eastern shoulder of Orion, denoting unlimited success, and Polaris, which is a dimension portal, which is the current north celestial pole star. There's also a little engine and the dissolved opposition. This is quite similar to the earlier, no, actually the later one. I'm sorry. Anyhow, I just finished a video in Hungarian and my head is mixed up a little bit. Anyhow, this is the dissolved opposition. You have the MCIC angle and Black Moon Lilith, which is the strong feminine who accepts a task, a duty, and doesn't care how hard and how dangerous the task is. This is the third turning point of the Lilith myth, which is trining Chiron and the midheaven. And actually, the true trine on the midheaven is the one that dissolves the MCIC opposition. And the little engine is the Sun and Lilith and the IC. This is the little engine, you see. So that's moving the whole space-time moment. And if you take a look, you can see that the semi-sextile is between Chiron and Uranus. The Sun is not yet there. It will be there in 3 days, but not yet there. So it's really not, this is not closing. That's why, again, as I said, I usually work with much tighter orbs, but I just wanted to show you the space-time moment in its full entirety. On the Sun, you have Hell, goddess of the underworld for the North mythology, and Menkar, its Alpha Cetus, the alpha star of the celestial veil, occupying the liminal space between Aries and Taurus, and it's the stare of the veil that is coming out of the subconscious, hidden subconscious urges and also conditions. And on Chiron, you have Medusa, a strong feminine, and Nodus too. We are going to look at it. It's one of the stars of the celestial Draco. So not Alpha Draconis, Gamma Draconis, I think. Anyhow, on Uranus, you have Tisiphone, the goddess of revenge. Not very nice, but what can we do? And on the black moon, you have Hubris, and two stars, Occupants and Kohab. And on the midheaven, now this is the only thing that really disturbs me besides Chiron there, because Chiron actually could be interpreted as some sort of healing energy, healing the future of the monarchy. Yeah, we could actually interpret it like this. But on the midheaven, you have Atropos and Apophis. Also Alpharat, so that's a redeeming factor. Atropos was, she is the third of the fates, who is cutting the thread. So you might actually say that maybe he is the last king, and the kingship and the monarchy will be dissolved, and it could very well happen in the future, in the near or farther future. We don't know, but of course a lot of people want that, especially the young people. And then Apophis is the celestial dragon that is swallowing the sun. So it is some sort of cataclysm. So it's one of the cataclysm significators, and the other one, Gong Gong, is on Saturn. And then Alpharat is the alpha star that denotes freedom and movement, and it's one of the healing worlds of the suicide victims. Actually, this is where the soul learns to be happy again, to move freely, to have freedom and movement in their lives. So it's a very important star, actually. That's the dissolved opposition. And here is Chiron and Nodus 2. That's Delta Draco, actually. As you can see, there are two Noduses, and this is the second one. And it's the fourth brightest star, quite bright, 3.2 magnitude. And here's the sun with Menkar. As you can see, this is the liminal space between stars that are not intertwined between the two constellations. And again, the sun will never actually be conjunct Menkar, because at this time of the year, it is about 18 degrees of the celestial equator. We are about halfway between the vernal equinox and the summer solstice. And there's also another finger of fate and a dissolved opposition. And this is what I told you. I started to say that these are quite similar, but here you have a little engine. And in this configuration, you have actually a finger of fate, a yod, involving Aries at its apex, so the disruption and drastically altered outward circumstances, which is enlarged by Jupiter, by the way. Ceres, which is the home and the family and your nation and your homeland and your eating habits, and the moon. And the fact that Ceres and the moon are in a sextile shows that, yes, the mob, the people, the English, okay, actually enjoy this moment, because it takes them back to their heritage, but it could be disrupted, and well, hopefully not. And there's a dissolved opposition. Ceres is opposite Neptune, and this opposition is dissolved by the moon. And actually, the water trine between the moon and Neptune is quite nice. It's an applying trine, so that gives us hope that this is going to be a nice space-time moment. As for the transcendental objects, on the moon you have Deucalion and Agena. Deucalion is one of the survival archetypes. He was the one chosen by Zeus when he brought a deluge on on humankind, killing everything and everyone. And it's Deucalion and his wife who are surviving it, and they can start the new generation of mankind. So Deucalion, very prominent, denotes two things. Number one, that it is that the person is a survivor and also chosen. So the ability to survive and the fact that you are being chosen, that you are being elevated to a certain point. And then on Neptune, you have Athena, which is not Pallas Athena. There's another archetype, another asteroid named just Athene, and she denotes Athens and the protector of Athens. So it's the protective side of Pallas Athena. And Matar, which is the knee of the winged horse, Pegasus. And quite interestingly, in this space-time moment, the knee, the centaur's knee and Pegasus's knee are quite prominent. We will talk about this. On mid-heaven, you have Metis. No, that's nothing. Maybe on not on the midheaven, sorry, on Aries. Metis, wisdom, Justitia, justice, and Helio, there's after all some sort of sun energy anyway. And on Jupiter, you have Zoser, a pharaoh, a strong person, and the Andromeda galaxy, which is a dimension portal, the second dimension portal that we see today. And on Ceres, you have Osiris, the lord of the underworld, and Selene, the moon goddess. And here is one of our knees. The moon is aligned with Agena or Agena. I don't know, and I never know how you guys pronounce it. We say Agena in Hungarian. And this is the knee of the celestial centaur. And it's actually one of the healing words for Chiron, Chiron issues, Chiron pain. So that's one of the, and that is aligned with the moon, quite interestingly. And here's the other knee. Matar, which is the knee of the celestial Pegasus. And what does the knee mean? The knee means two things. To bend the knee is sometimes necessary. It means both humility or being humble, but also being stuck up and have too much pride. These are the same. These are the two different sides, the two different sides of the same coin, so to speak. Because if you have too much pride, you don't know how to bend the knee. If you have too much humility, you don't know how to be proud of yourself. Clearly, there is an issue about such a theme or topic in this space-time moment. And as you can see, Matar is again quite far away from Neptune in declination, so it's never going to be conjunct. It's actually about 30 degrees to the north, so not even the moon can be conjunct Matar, only aligned. And here's the Andromeda. So Jupiter's on the Andromeda galaxy. It will be there because Jupiter's daily travel is about 7 to 8 or 9 minutes of an arc. And as you know, the fixed stars have a 1 degree, all 1 degree applying 1 degree separating. So there's always a 2 degree window. And this, in the case of Jupiter, could mean weeks. Okay, so with the Uranus, the upcoming Uranus Sun conjunction, Jupiter will still be aligned with Andromeda galaxy. And again, this is quite to the north, so it will never be conjunct, but aligned. And again, this is a dimension portal where things can come down and we can also cross over. So what is the space-time moment? It's clearly chosen by someone. I don't really like two features. I don't like the midheaven, the way things are there with Apophis and Atropos, although Alpheratz is good, the fixed star Alpheratz. And I don't like the Grand Cross, although it is dissolved by Saturn, but still. I also don't actually like the Sun-Uranus conjunction because, as I said, Uranus is always disruption and chaos. We don't like that. So we don't want this reign to be starting at the moment of chaos. Although if we take a look at the progressions, there's a 3 degree orb between the exact conjunction. So 3 years from now, there may be some change or chaos in the monarchy. We will see. So that's it. That's the space-time moment. Happy coronation. I wish you all, my English friends and acquaintances, well. I hope that this reign will bring you stability, happiness, prosperity. This is what I hope for you. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.